I want you and that young man to tie that knot. I'm gonna pray for you. And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand, because he helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Yeah.
It's the old
He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped get off the island.
Let me get straight to the business. Yeah. Got them lions in the building. Yeah. Why you lying to your children? Yeah. Why you lying to your children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been to bed. Man, they know contest. Yahuwah, he do the best. We will not see you tomorrow. Cause you cannot go to Thought. All the sons and all the daughters. Standing hard with big manotas. But my son, he made me Taurus. On that line, I'm still a Taurus. Karate kicking Chuck Norris, 4-5 on my waist. If he started, will not hesitate to get retarded. Oh Lordy, he ain't got a PowerPoint, he forest. He running to the hills like a Philistine. Jihad hitting Hamites with the guillotine. Situation turned up with the Ratchet team. JJ 7000 to the bait league. I know them haters gon' hate me, but he won't debate me. Pistol off safety. Respond, come wake me. If I don't get up, nigga shake me. Really give me up. If he don't show up, then he fake G. I touch down and make these nigga nuts hate me. Dear brother, balling and crawling all the way from H-time. Let me get straight to the business. Man, them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Why you lying to them children? You gon' cry, you gon' get it. Me, I'm like a frog, nigga, ribbit. Of course, it's in the spirit. I just got the Porsche, she can steer it. Mito got the raw, shack and will it. Lamborghini doors, you better not spill it. Mama's high, say I'm more than just a villain. Mama's cry, I'm dope and wide for her children. Suicide, immortalized as the realest, yeah. Death by gun, black suicide. Let me get straight to the business. Got them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been in bed. Yeah. Man, they know contest. Yeah. Yahuwah, he do the best. Wow, what's that? Why didn't take it over? Number one debate league, you heard me? When it's up, it's stuck. I'm stepping on everything, nigga. Metaphorically, of course.
Peace. This is the Lions Den. Shout out to everybody.
Con, you gonna introduce the panel, Op?
Oh shit. Okay. All right. I can still hear me. My bad. My zone had messed up for a second. My bad. But yeah, this is the Lions Den. We got some special people on here and a real topic that might, that might touch some people's nerves and they want to speak on it. But like he always said, if you don't agree, come holler at him. And I'm pretty sure he'll debate you on it. I don't know if he will or not, but I'm pretty sure he will. But let's get to the panel. We will go to the backbone of the Lions Den. Say what's up, Karima.
Shalom, everybody. Shalom to the panel. Shalom to Bingo. And yeah, I'm here for a good discussion.
Okay. Now we will go to the Zion Warren, aka the Smushinator. You know what I'm saying? He out here No boxer with a lot of these people right now trying to get somebody in the ring. He said he wants somebody in the ring right now. So all y'all that's talking, get in the ring with him, set it up, hit Kareem up, hit JJ up. It can get done. Zion, let the people know who you are, where they can find
Con,
you.
con. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shabarakada, Rastafari. Anybody who want that smoke, I am the smoke. You know who it is? The most hated, the most underrated, the most underdebated, the most underestimated. Yo, Smusher Man, baby, the Smushinator. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna fall back and let Rabbi Lewis, you know what I'm saying, break his knowledge down, you know what I'm saying, as we always do. You know what I'm saying? Much love to the panel. You know what I'm saying? Much love to Sister Karima. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah Judah, who's not in the building right now, you know what I'm saying? Much love, you know what I'm saying? And shalom to all my Israelite brethren and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it going.
That's what's up. All right. We're going to the person, the man of the hour right here, Rabbi Lewis. He said he has wrote 35 books. What is your 36th book? This should be his 36th book. And he's going to speak on this. But first, let them know who you are. Let them know how they can find you on all the social media.
Islam, Udullah min Shaitan Rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the especially merciful. I bear witnesses there's no God but Allah is with y'all, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger. My name is Rabbi Lewis, aka Louis Islam. I'm a published author with over 40 books. So when I type in Rabbi Lewis, academically, my background is in parasitology, investment banking, and Arabic studies with an honor.
Tell them where they can find you at on Facebook, social media, anything like that.
Yeah, certainly. Just go to Amazon.com, type in Rabbi Lewis. You can check my work out. I have a YouTube channel I don't really use, but I got video lessons. Just type in Rabbi Lewis.
Okay. Kareem, I think he said you had a link, or you could put up with his book, the picture of his book, so we can get to the title. So the first thing we go get to is the title. So let the people know what the title is.
If Kareem can pull that up, sis.
The title of the book.
If Kareem can pull it up, I'll read the title. If she can pull it up on the
Okay.
screen.
Well, yeah. While we wait for the title of the book to come up, um, what made you want to write this book?
Certainly, mashallah. Apologetics. The pressure of apologetics, Christian apologetics. I'm a Muslim and she a Muslim, so apologetics.
Okay. I mean, is it something that you found in the book that made you say that made you go that way? Because you said you had a couple verses, so if you could show like one, two verse to a people to let them know like
Yeah,
that
certainly.
you're not just making it up, that you actually went into the book and you seen this and this is where you got it from.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Kareem's pulling it up now. Okay, it's my new book. It's called Homosexuality and Bible Myths, a critique of the Gospels, which essentially in a nutshell, is engendered around debunking the Gospels as Greek mythology.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that part. And so what about the homosexual part? Where did you get that from? And like, what made you come up with that part? Like,
Yeah.
what made the light come on and say, this is what I'm gonna talk about on the homosexuality part?
Yeah, so the question was Jesus gay? The answer is yes, he was gay. And I prove it in the Bible and in the book. Now I may ruffle some feathers and rub people the wrong way, the left way, instead of the right way, but it's just in the empirical fact.
Okay, now can you give us a verse, like just one verse of what you're speaking of, like an example?
Yeah, sorry, I'll dive in. If, you guys are ready to dive into the presentation.
Okay,
Stop,
I ain't know you
yo,
was coming
bro.
with a
I
question.
asked you not to ask questions. This is your show. Stop asking people if anybody's ready. You go in with
Oh,
confidence
excuse me, brother.
and
I
say what you're gonna
apologize.
say, please.
I didn't mean to be rude, brother. I apologize. All right. So Jesus' story is loosely is
Yes.
based. I'm sorry.
Oh
Can you hear
yeah,
me?
you can go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No,
So Jesus, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
no, you can go. Anybody say nothing?
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Okay. So again, I didn't mean to be this rude. Okay. So, Jesus' life story is based on Apollonius of Tyana story. Apollonius of Tyana was worshipped in the first century, right? His name was Apollonius of Tyana. Jesus' mythological story is based on his story. Let's go into the Apollonius' story of Tyana. He died in 98 AD. He got crucified, right? He taught Apollonius taught that there was one true God, that animal sacrifice was done away with. He um he worked miracles, casted out demons, healed the sick, raised the dead. His followers thought he was the Son of God, though he called himself the Son of Man, like Jesus. He accused sedition against Rome. He was arrested after his death. His disciples claimed he had risen from the dead and ascended into heaven, right? So Apollonius the Tyana story is identical to Jesus. Apollonius is historical because we have his work in Flavius Philostratus' work, The Life of Apollonius. So the whole Jesus narrative was a ripoff of Apollonius the Tyana story, right? But let's keep going. He's also based loosely on Dionysus. Um, Dionysus was this. Hold on a second. Sorry, I got back. Sorry about the background. Dionysus was the son of Zeus and Selene. He turned water into wine.
Dionysus, not Dionysus.
Yeah, Dionysus. Excuse me. Yes, excuse me. He turned water. He was the god of wine. He turned water into wine, like Christ. He was identified as the Lamb of God. Um, he was called the young man of the tree, indicated that he was hung on the tree like Christ and crucified. Um, he descended to the underworld after being resurrected after 3 days after his death. Similar to Jesus' narrative, almost identical, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out like the homosexual part.
yeah, I'm
I
getting
mean,
to
I
that.
know, I
Right,
know about most of the. I
right,
know about. Yeah, I understand about most of the Greek parts and stuff like that, and most people do. But
right,
the homosexual part is what is new that I have not heard yet.
Yeah,
So
I'm getting
that's
to
right,
why.
that.
right.
But good.
That's what we're trying to get down to. So let me just say real quick. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not bringing any contentions as of yet. But you know that Christianity was Hellenized, and Yeshua Hamashiach. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to you're saying Jesus Christ. That certain things we know that the cross, the crucifix came from the Romans, and the Romans were born from the Greeks. What I don't want you to do, what I want you to do is kind of prove that this is not a fallacy of equivocation argument, because you're equivalating Greek ideology that was also Hellenized into Christianity with the actual character who was Yeshua Hamashiach. So I need that from you, Ak.
Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because are you saying that Jesus? You said Jesus was a homosexual, right? So that's why I'm asking, like, what can you show us, like, just one verse of what, like, say when you read through the book, what made you come to the idea, like, oh man, this man is a homosexual? That's
Yeah,
the
sir.
part we're trying
Yeah,
to.
sir. I'll dive into that. I was just bringing some points to the book I made. You gotta remember
Okay.
Josephus and Tacitus. Tacitus mentions Christ. Those Tacitus letters were 15th century forgeries. I can prove that there was Tacitus never said that. And
Wait. What century was Tacitus?
15th century. That story where Tacitus said Christmas and
15th
all that.
century. That's 15. No, that's like, okay, so they say the third century, but between the first and the third century is when Christ Yeshua Hamashiach existed. You're saying about 14 100 years after the fact is when Tacitus made this claim, right?
No, yeah, it's
That's
a
what you're saying?
forgery. Somebody
Okay,
forgery.
all right.
You gotta remember. Sorry about the. I'm on my house right now. Josephus and
I'm
Tacitus.
I'm
Gotta
just at
remember. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'm just asking questions, Doc. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying, chop you down, but
Yeah.
we want to
So
get to
Joe, you
Yeah,
gotta
hold
remember.
on. Yeah, because look, if you got a presentation, right, wait till we ask the question first, and then we can show the presentation. But that's why I say I'm asking the question, and it's like you're not answering that part of the
Okay,
question. You're
sorry. I
starting
just
from the
I just
beginning.
addressed the homosexual point first.
right. In
Okay.
legal standard, it would be an objection non-responsive. So if somebody asks you a specific question and you're not getting to the answer to that question, that would be an objection, and it would be upheld by the judge, and it would be stricken from the record. So
Okay.
if
Yeah, it's just like it's just
Mass
saying
asks
what
you
I'm
a
saying is when I
question,
ask you the question.
Hold on. Let's
Tom,
Yeah.
continue.
yeah,
Let's
if
continue.
Mass asks you a
Okay.
question, you know what I'm saying, please answer that straight. You know what I'm saying? Get to that point, and then you can break down all of the other, you know what I'm saying, intricacies, you know what I'm saying, that support your argument. But if you're
Sorry.
just gonna break down intricacies first, then it's not responsive. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let Eric, because Eric was about to
Yeah.
say something, so let him
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah. I was just saying, like, when I ask the question, yeah, we just go directly to that because I don't want you because if when you go around, and you know what's going to happen is you go we're gonna start talking about them other subjects before we get to that point. That's why it ain't gotta be a long
Yeah.
question. It could be 30 seconds, a minute question, whatever I ask. You just go directly to it. So that's why I was saying, what made you put homosexuality with Jesus?
Well, sir, I'll get right to that. Excuse me. So yeah, it's based on the Gospel of Mark. Who Jesus was homosexual, right? Um,
Mhm.
Mark is dated to around 150 AD. It's been altered and edited many times, right? So Clement of Alexandria, who lived in 150 to 215, complained about the alternative versions of the Gospel of Mark, which was circulating in his lifetime, right? So Clement of Alexandria was complaining about gospel copies of Mark that was circulating at the time. So the Colpocrates was an early Christian sect. They considered pedophilia to be a virtue of faith, right? So the Colpocrates said that homosexuality and pedophilia was a good thing, was a virtue of their faith. And Clement complained about their version of Mark, which said Jesus was a homosexual and exploited young boys. So in a nutshell, at the time, the Gospel of Mark that they had when Clement of Alexandria was on the scene in the second century, there was a copy of Mark, that said Jesus was gay and was a pedophile. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah. I'm listening.
Yeah. So the corporate crazies were early Christians that believed that pedophilia was a good thing, and they had a copy of the Gospel of Mark, Mark from the Bible, which said Jesus
Yeah.
was a homosexual. But these Gospels of Mark didn't survive.
And, and,
Didn't
and when,
survive to this
when
day.
was this dated?
I'm
You
sorry.
said it was dated in the 15th century.
Zion, keep your questions for the end. Let him do the interview, and
Okay,
then
I'm
you
Yeah.
go
sorry.
ahead.
Salaki.
Okay. And I was gonna ask. Now, where did you? Now, if somebody asks you, so you're saying it's not actually inside the Bible, it's a people that spoke on it from ancient time and said that they actually read a book that spoke on him being as homosexual. That's what you're saying?
Oh, they had an early copy of the Gospel of Mark. Mark from the Bible, who was the disciple of Peter. They had
Yeah.
a copy of the Gospel of Mark where Jesus was a homosexual and was used to molest little boys. It was in the Gospel of Mark they had at the time. The version of Mark that they had at the time said that.
Okay.
Now these
Okay.
verses didn't survive today because somebody burnt them. But the earliest Gospels of Mark said Jesus was a homosexual.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. You're saying it was more of an original script that spoke on that. So now, when you putting that in a book, like, because I'm like I said, I'm not a Christian. Like, I'm gonna ask you questions like I am one. So when you put that in a book, what source are you going to use to say that?
I gave you the source. The source is in the book, but one of the sources is from Clement of Alexandria, who said that I'm going to
Criminal
say it
harassment.
twice. Clement said
Okay.
that there were copies of Mark at the time, and in the Gospel of Mark they had, Jesus was a homosexual and a pedophile. But those versions of Mark they're not around anymore because obviously somebody
Oh,
burnt those copies because it made Jesus look like a homosexual. He was gay himself. Okay.
Okay. So what other part of the book is if are you discussing on other than the homosexual part again?
Yeah, so yeah, I would dive into some more of the book. You know, remember Josephus and Tacitus. Josephus allegedly mentions Jesus, which is a forgery by Eusebius. They believed that Hercules was a real person. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Josephus and Tacitus believed that Hercules was an actual person, which is interesting. Which you got to take their writings with a grain of salt, you know. But let's keep going.
Okay.
I'll give you some more from the book. The Gospel of Matthew, you know Matthew from the Bible.
Yeah.
He didn't exist. He was based on an historical person named Mattai, who was a disciple of Jesus ben Pandera. Now, Jesus ben Pandera is not the same Jesus from the Bible. He was a person from the Hasmonean Hellenistic period, right? His name was Jesus ben
Okay.
Pandera. He lived in the 3rd century BC. Jesus came on the scene in the 1st century. He was a mythical character. So the historical gospel, the Gospel of Matthew was written by Matthew. Never existed. He was a character called Mattai, who was a disciple of Jesus ben Pandera from the Hasmonean era. This story influenced the 1st century Jewish Jesus story. So the real Matthew was Mattai, who was a disciple around just like Matthew was of Jesus ben Pandera, like Matthew of the New Testament, right?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean I understand like what you're saying.
the Gospel of Luke was written. The Gospel of Luke and Acts was by Luke. Luke was known as the healer in the Bible. His he was actually historically the Greek god Lycos, who was the god of healing. So Luke never existed. The Gospel of Luke was written by a mythological Greek character named Lycos. So Luke in the Bible is known as the healer. This is based on the Greek god, the healer god Lycos. So Luke never existed. He was the Greek healer god Lycos. They just plagiarized the story from Greek mythology. Remember, Luke was not a
Yeah.
disciple; he was a friend of Paul. Um, in fact, Luke even mentions Josephus' Jewish antiquities as a reference point, showing that it couldn't have been written before 93 AD. So Luke was Lycos, the Greek god of healing, and he mentions the antiquities of the Jews in his writings. So we know it was written in around 93. Um, yeah.
So let me ask you, is there any books in the gospels that you would say that's authentic?
No, as I demonstrate in my book, the Gospels are mythological. All the Gospels are mythological
Okay.
writings. I didn't even
Okay.
get. I just covered Matthew.
Yeah, yeah, I was just asking that. I was just this is for make sure because when Zion come with the jump, I'm just trying to get everything out. So when he come with his questions, he'll have more understanding of where you're coming from. I mean,
Yeah.
but I do understand that a lot of these books did come was written like 100 to 200 years like after the death of Jesus. So I mean, I agree with a lot of the stuff that you're saying. But only thing I can say about I'm asked about the homosexual thing. The only reason I asked about that, right, because like a regular Israelite that's a Christian, they're gonna come to you and say, "Well, can you show that in the Bible?" See, now that's just the only. That's why I just asked, was it anything like a scripture wise that you had? I mean, if not, that's cool. I don't, I'm just asking because I see the way you did it. You went to the scholarship and did it, but I was just asking, like, if you was talking to somebody as far as going inside the Bible, would it be any scripture that you could say and say, "See, this is why I thought that."
Sorry, I think I said that. I said this. There was first got back on us. This is based on an early
You said
gospel
who?
of
What
Mark.
was it?
This is based on the early gospel of Mark.
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I'm just
Oh
saying I would. That's why my question was just: is it in the Bible now, that, as far as you know, the New Testament?
no, no, it was an early gospel of Mark that the
Okay.
corporations had.
Okay. Yeah, that was just my question. Like I said, you know what I mean. I would just that's my question for that. I just wanted to know was it in there or not. But I understand what you're saying. I understand that you're saying it was an older one that they found that said that. I understand that part. So
Yeah.
how long did it take you to write this book?
About 9 hours.
Oh, okay. So how long was you researching on this?
Couple weeks.
Couple weeks. Okay. Um, have you spoke on this before, or is this like how new is this as far as Is this something you've been saying for years?
Yeah, certainly. I remember watching it when I first came. I was Hebrews like for 12 years. Great millstone. I remember coming across a video called "Sorry Black Hebrew Israelites" back in like 2009. The video doesn't exist anymore. He was quoting an excellent book that I found. I couldn't find it for years, and it showed how the lineages of the Northern Kingdom, the 10 lost tribes, is identical to the 10 sons of the Greek god. What was one of the Greek gods, Hercules, I believe it was. The story is plagiarized wholesale. So in my book, as you can see on the screen, I show how those stories were plagiarized from the sons of Hercules in my book. So you're gonna show how I show that in the book.
Read a little bit for them.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, read like a paragraph or something for them.
Yeah, no problem. Let me pull it up in my book. Okay, so like I said, the story is plagiarized wholesale from Greek mythology. The 10 tribe story. It is identical, word for word. Uh, First of all, the Levites.
I just want to let you know, Rabbi Lewis, that I am extremely versed in Greek mythology. I studied Greek mythology ever since I was my son's age. So we're gonna dig into this, okay?
So that's why it's got a real bad background on it. Sorry. Okay. So first off, chapter 2 is called 12 Tribes in my book. Um, Levi was not a tribe. That is a later redaction. The tribe of Levi was never an actual tribe. How do we know that? It says it was actually a profession, not a tribe, right? Which where
What are
Levite
you
means a
reading from?
person. Huh?
What are you reading from? What are you reading from?
Chapter 2 of my book.
There's a chapter from your book, but what's the source that
Yeah.
supports your chapter? You have a
Yeah,
source
something. I
for
get
it,
to
right?
that. Of course, I gotta make my point first, brother. So the Levites were not a tribe. That was a later redaction. You're not gonna see it probably in the screen share because it's the second chapter of the book. If you go to Judges chapter 17, verse 7, there was a Levite who was of the tribe of Judah, right? Let's read that again. Judges 17, 7 in the Bible. There was a Levite who was of the tribe of Judah. That makes no sense. These were two different tribes. Why is there a Levite from the tribe of Judah? Well, that's because originally the Levites were not a tribe. It was a profession, right? So that, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so Judges 77, there
I
was a
wish you would
Levite.
stop asking if people would hear you, because you do
I
always do
apologize.
that.
Excuse me. That's what because yeah, I'm at my mom's house, so I got background noise. So Judges 17 and 7, we have a Levite. We have a Levite who's from the tribe of Judah. So that proves the Levites were not a tribe at the time. It was a profession. Because how's there a Levite, which is a different tribe than Judah, of the tribe of Judah? So that proves right there the Levite was not a tribe. It was a profession. Right? Okay. Also, we clearly demonstrate evidence in the biblical text of rival priestly groups, from the Zadokites, the Aaronites, the Mushites, the Koranites, the Meratites, and others. First Chronicles 12 and 27 lists Aaron and Zadok alongside the other tribes, implying some kind of independent relationship, right? Now, in post-exilic times, Zadokites were distinct from the Levites. Now, Ezekiel tries to say the Zadokites were descendants from Aaron and Levi, but this has been proven by scholars to be a biblical fiction. So, in a nutshell, the tribe of Levi was never a tribe. It was a profession that later became a tribe, right? Let's keep going. Yehuda was not a real tribe. It was a political designation. Let's prove that. So Judah was not a real tribe. This is made up history. In Persia, there was something known as Yehud. In Persia, remember the Persians defeated the Babylonians and sent the Israelites back to build the temple to Zerubbabel. There was a Persian place called Yehud, which is the modern Yehuda, the land, in Highland of Palestine. It is unlikely that the extensive reference to Yehudim known from the Hellenistic period shouldn't be called in case of a cover of people.
Okay, so I'm gonna just put this out so everybody can rehear it. He said Yehuda is not a tribe, and he said Levite is not a tribe. It's a what you said it was?
A profession. We're not a
A
tribe, and I
profession.
proved that
It's not
because
a
there
it's
was a
not a tribe's
Levite.
profession.
Judges 17, there was a Levite dude who's from the tribe of Judah, which they're two different tribes. How's it so? That's because originally Levi was not a tribe; it was a profession. That's why a Levite can be a Judite. Somebody just changed it later.
Okay.
Okay, there was a Persian province called Judah. It was not an ethnic term, nor did it refer to a people, right? Okay, okay, let's keep on. And get the whole book away, but there's some bullet points. Okay. So like I was saying, the lineages of the 10 tribes are plagiarized wholesale from 10 God sons of Hercules, I believe it was. The stories are literally identical. Let's keep going.
Okay, so you saying most of the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, is influenced off of Greek mythology.
Yeah. Always influence of Greek mythology. In fact, there's an excellent book I think I mentioned before by Rabbi Yehuda called Hebrew is Greek. And I quote him in my book how he shows how Hebrew is actually historically Greek. Um, these stories are plagiarized wholesale from Greek mythology.
Oof, boy, you putting a lot out right there, boy. You gonna have some people.
So we have the Alexander Romance by Heliodorus. It's a fiction dramatization of the exploits of Alexander the Great. So there's mythical stories by Alexander the Great called Alexander Romance by Heliodorus. It's a fictitious dramatization of Alexander the Great. Um,
Hold on, say about Alexander the Great again.
yeah, there was a story called Alexander Romance by Heliodorus. It's a
Oh,
fictitious dramatization of Alexander the Great, as I show in my book.
you ain't
Um,
talking about when he supposed to had a child or something, right? Is that what you
yeah,
talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, I heard that story before. That supposed to have been Jesus or something like that.
certainly.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember that. I remember that story. I did read
Yeah,
on that before. I have heard that before, and I'm glad you did say myth because they haven't. I don't believe they found his body yet, so I don't take him as a real person yet. Since everybody else go by that.
yeah, yeah. So I remember Peter Joseph did the documentary Zeitgeist. That's Peter Joseph's work. He was showing how a horror story, Jesus stories plagiarized from horrors, which I prove in my book that's true. So he had a dude named Keith Thompson who did a response video back. His video went viral, right? He said the horror story
Uh,
could not have influenced the Jesus narrative, which I debunked in my book. Horror story, Jesus stories plagiarized from horrors. So let's get into that.
okay, let me ask you this right now.
Yeah,
The new most people who don't really go contained by the New Testament, we know that that was made by the Greeks, right, and part of the mythology. And what do you believe that it came through the Constantine era, like most people
also
teach
on that
on?
scene.
Or yeah, how do you think that Greek came through the New Testament? What era? Because a lot of people would say the Constantine era.
Yeah, so Scaliger, there's a guy named Scaliger. He's the father of modern chronology. His dates have been debunked by a mathematician named Anatoly Fomenko, which I wrote about his work in one of my work. He's a mathematician. He recalculated Scalinger's dates, so most of them are erroneous. So why is that relevant? The Council of Nicaea never happened. It's historical. It's an historical fiction, and we know Nicaea never happened. It's made up history because Fomenko did the astrological history. There was something called the Easter Book, which is like the calculations of certain constellations. But if you look at so it's got background on. If you look at it, it's dated to the 7th century. So He shows how the Nicaea never even happened. It's made up history.
Okay, okay. So I mean, so like I said, how do you think that it actually got into it? You just think they wrote it, period, and it ain't because of translation, or anything like that?
Hold on, let me get that one. Most of these stories were written in the Hellenistic period.
Because hold on, because I just gonna ask because the only reason I asked you that, right, because I want to know, is that the same way that you think the Old Testament? Because we know the Old Testament is a little older, so I just want to know from that after you answer that to
Yeah, you gotta
how.
remember, brother, the oldest Old Testament we have is the Septuagint, complete, and that's in
Uh huh.
Greek. It's a Greek text. And
I mean,
to make
yeah,
matters
yeah.
worse, I'm sorry.
No, no, yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
To make matters worse, during the Hellenistic period, 332 to 63 BCE, Canaan was a province of Egypt. Yeah. So the Hellenistic period, ancient Canaan was an Egyptian province during the Hellenistic period. And Palestine was never called Canaan. That's a scribal insertion that Palestine was Canaan. That's total mythology. So and like I said, in the Hellenistic period, ancient Canaan was an Egyptian province. Also, I'm not sure you guys praise the Exodus, but that story is mythology. And I can get into that if you want.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm just gonna let you know, like I'm a indigenous American. That's what I teach. I've been here, but as far as the Bible, I did grow up in the Bible, so I know a lot. But I understand there's a lot of myth and there's a lot of I don't look at the Bible as everybody else is like worshiping it. I just worship the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I agree with a lot of stuff you're saying. You know, so yeah, you can go into it because I mean I do agree with a lot of that stuff. But
Yeah.
and as far as I wanted to do say, because I have another book with the Dead Sea Scrolls, like about all this stuff, and I realized that shit was Greek, like Hellenistic Greek Coptic shit, right? So if that's Greek and the New Testament is Greek, it's like how did the Old Testament go back without being influenced by the Greek or either
It certainly
or
was. I
even
mean,
tampered with?
Moses goes to Palestina. Palestina was named Palestina by Hadrian in the first century, brother.
Yeah,
Moses lived in the 14th century. Goliath has on chainmail. Chainmail didn't exist when Goliath lived. It's a 14th century chainmail, like you put on like armor. They didn't
yeah.
exist. So these verses were written later in the 1400s. You know, yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
I
you can
covered
go
it quite
to
a bit.
what you was about to. You can go to what you was about to go into.
Yeah, we got G-Stories
I might ask
also,
a couple more questions, then I'm gonna let Zion get in.
certainly. We had a guy named Mithra. Yeah, Peter Joseph, Keaton said a Mithra story and Horus couldn't influence the Jesus narrative, which is total nonsense. It did influence the Jesus narrative. There was 53 gods at the Council of Nicaea to choose to make the ultimate God. And then Constantine was like, we got to narrow this down, right? So they narrowed it down to 5 gods: Mithra, Horus, Zeus, Krishna, and Julius Caesar, because Julius Caesar was considered a god, right? So
Uh-huh.
it was 53 gods on the table. Constantine said, we got to narrow this down. So they narrowed it down to 5 gods: Horus, Krishna, Zeus, Mithra, and Julius Caesar. So they did a vote to make. So I'll leave that alone for now. You read that in the book, but so that shows the Horus story. Horus is one of the 5 gods on the table to make the ultimate God. So of course it influenced the Jesus narrative. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I agree with a lot of that stuff because the Greeks ruled the kingdoms longer than people want to admit to, and I had to find that out later.
yeah, when you go
But
to
I was doing my own research.
yeah, when they went to Calvary, when Jesus was crucified, they found a statue to Venus. The god is Venus. Like where Jesus was crucified on Calvary, they found a statue of the Greek goddess Venus on Calvary, which is interesting.
And now let me ask you this:
Yeah.
what purpose is for the book? What is your main purpose of putting this book out?
It's an ode to apologetics and scholarship. I think I read over 40 books. Most of my books on I got 3 books on the stock market, me being investment banking. But most of my books are on the what's going on in the Levant in the 14. Nah, but seriously, most of my books are on religion. It's it. Yes,
Okay. Now I just want to ask you: are you ready for people to come after you that's a follower of Christ, like on debates?
I'm looking forward to any critique, and like anybody wants to proofread or do a study on my work, please feel free to hit me up, and we'll do a discussion.
I'll tell you
So
Okay.
when.
yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let it go over to Zion then. I think I asked enough questions for. I don't want you to speak your whole book out. You know what I mean? But I think he got enough to where he can ask his questions on it. You ready, Zion?
Yeah, him and
Yeah.
hold on, Zion.
Oh, I ain't.
Him.
I can't see
I
what.
can't see what.
Yeah, see if it's on
What's
the
the sister
panel.
screaming?
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
No, okay.
PC.
PC.
See if it's on the panel, and the audience got questions too.
Shalom, Cephas Black.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Did you want to ask
Cephas.
some questions out?
Hold on. Let me introduce him real quick. Cephas. Cephas.
Okay.
Peace, peace, family.
Yeah. Let them know who you are, and where they can find you at.
I'm Cephas Black, the gangster Egyptian. You can find me on YouTube, God Talk with Cephas Black. You can also find me on Facebook, just Cephas Black. You know what it is.
Okay. Okay. I'm all right, I'm gonna get to some of these. I see a couple comment questions real quick. I'm gonna ask them real fast. One person is Greek text European. This is for Rabbi Lewis.
Is the Greek text European? Is that the
I
question?
guess he's asking, are you saying by them saying Greek, are you saying the Greeks are white people from Europe?
Oh, the original Greeks were black. They were known as the Etruscans. But
Okay, I think what he's asking is like the Greeks that you're saying that influenced the Bible, is it the
oh yeah,
European white
certainly,
Greek
yeah,
or
yeah,
is the
The Ptolemy Empire. Alexander the Great died, and his kingdom got split up into 5 empires after Alexander the Great died. He was known as the leopard in the Bible. And in fact, I'm not sorry. He was known as. Pull it up real quick. The Book of Daniel, chapter 7. Go to. Oh, my bad. I'm back. Daniel 7:6. Right. It says, "After this, I
uh,
beheld and lo another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it." Right. So the leopard represents Alexander, the Greek. He's known as the leopard because in Daniel's in prophecy, because he wore a leopard skin as a saddle blanket on his horse. He always used to wear leopard skin on his helmet cover. So Daniel calls him the leopard, Alexander the Great, right? After his death, the Greek Empire was split into 4 kingdoms. The Ptolemaic kingdom, who ruled Egypt, they were European. They were white, correct? The Seleucid Empire of Nicator in Babylon and Levant. Antigonus had Asia, and Lysimachus governed the Hellespont, right? So after Alexander the Great's death, it split into, I forgot, Cassandra possessed Macedonia. So after Alexander dies, his kingdom got split into 5 kingdoms. Ptolemy, Seleucus, Antiochus, Lysimachus, and Cassandra of Macedonia.
okay. I'm gonna ask you a couple more, and then if Cephas got a question, let him ask it. Then Zion, he gonna take it away after that. Um, Somebody said the Ethiopian text had books that predated the Greek Hellenization and Romanization. So I guess he's asking, what about the Ethiopian book that people claim that's older? That's the oldest Bible.
Yeah, correct. The Ethiopian Bible is one of the older Bibles. It dates around the time of the Sinai Bible, also known as the Codex Sinaiticus. The Ethiopian Bible certainly is one of the oldest Bibles we have. I would agree with that.
So I guess what he's saying is, if you're saying that the Greeks, if you're saying that there's a Greeks influence and they created this biblical stuff, are you saying they still older than you're saying they're still older than the Ethiopian Bible, though, right?
In the earliest, there's something called the Codex Bobenensis. It showed that the Greek
Okay.
influence on the Jews. Showed the Greeks influenced the Jews. You do know in Genesis, Jesus prays to Helios. In the Bible, he says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. In the According to Genesis, Jesus prayed to Helios, the Greek sun god. Yo, believe it or not, it's insane. It's incredible, you know?
Okay, I think I got like two more questions, maybe one or two. Somebody said speak about the hoplites, the hope lights.
The Hope Lights. Never heard of that. What's that?
Yeah, I mean I don't know.
That's what's the first. I
I,
don't know if that's a parody question. I don't know. I never heard of the Hope Lights.
I guess he's saying the
Anyway,
hope lights are Greeks. So but
oh, I never heard of
okay,
that.
yeah. Let me see if I can find one more. Then I'm gonna let Cephas X. Let me see.
I forgot to
I don't
mention.
see no. Uh-huh.
I forgot to mention. I'm sorry.
No, no, you can go speak. I was just looking for something. I don't see
I
no more
forgot to mention.
questions.
I don't know if you guys placed the Exodus, but well, anyway, I will. If you want to get to that, we can dive into it. I don't want to get to it now.
Okay. Cephas, do you have any questions before Zion step in?
Yeah, I just got one question. I was listening to most of what Rabbi Lewis was saying, and kept going after the Christianity with the Greek mythology. But from my understanding, brother, you are Muslim also. Your Muslim doctrine go off of Greek mythology too. So how you going to only attack one faith but not turn around and not attack your faith? You doing the same thing?
Yo, Cephas, don't do it. I got this. I got that. I got that for him.
Oh, ooh, that
Go
was
ahead.
all right.
Go ahead. But I'm about to light him up on that topic.
Anything else you want to ask Cephas before Zion go?
Oh no, that was the only thing that really made me a little mad right there. And then he had no facts to talk about that Jesus was a homosexuality. That's
Mm.
crazy. Come on now, like dog, we got two. I want to debate you, but I'm gonna let my man Zion go in. And yeah,
I mean, yeah, I agree. That's why I asked a couple of questions because I had to let the people know that he wasn't saying it was in the Bible. He was saying that it's some people that wrote and said that. So I was letting people know that so
Christian
they won't
century.
get a distinction. They won't
Yeah.
get a distinction that the Bible said this. But
Y'all ready to let me
so
off the leash?
yeah, I'm about to introduce you now. Okay, next up is Zion Warren, the Smushinator. You know what I'm saying? This is the second part of the questioning. So let's go.
I will never call this Negro rabbi. He is an imam, number one. Okay? Let's get this straight. This is my opening. This is my opening statement. Okay? Because I'm the law lion. Y'all see my image. I'm the law lion. Imam Lewis is not an Israelite. Let's just get that straight. For all those in the audience, this Negro is not an Israelite. So let me get to my opening statement, if it pleases the court. First and foremost, objection foundation, objection non-responsive, objection hearsay, move to strike everything this Negro just said. Now, let me just say something, and I'm gonna share my screen in a second. And this is a part of my opening statement. Now I got to go to the store and get my son some snacks and treats because he's been patiently. Sorry, can you turn that down? Patiently waiting for me to smush this boy's head in. Rabbi Lewis, you write books in a week. You have not done enough research. I'm a scholar. I'm in college. I'm a paralegal. I am going to law school. You don't do this kind of research, book writing research, in a week and think that you are correct. First and foremost, the brother said that all of his sources came from the 15th century to support this false argument of homosexuality with Jesus Christ. However, never supplying any actual foundational, substantive sources or merits from the Bible to support his argument. Now, when I think one of the sisters had brought up the fact had asked a question about the date of the Ethiopian Bible, he agreed that the Ethiopian Bible predated certain texts. But I was the one who said, because my name is also Brian, you know what I'm saying? I'm Brian Waring, but I am spiritually known as Zion Waring, the war child, the smushinator. And he's about to get smushed. I'm about to smush this boy head in. Okay? So listen to this. 15th century. Understand this. I'm not butthurt, Dennis Thorpe. Get out your ass. Get out of my ass with your finger sniffing. Okay? So watch this. 15th century. He's talking about Romanization and Hellenization. Hellenization. Understand that the Greeks would go and when they conquered a people, they did not take away their religion. What they would do was insert their doctrinal beliefs into those people's beliefs. The same thing happened with Romanization, and I have sources for this because this dude is just talking out of his book, basically talking out of his ass without actually supplying any primary or secondary sources. His own testimony is hearsay doctrine. Okay? Let's understand this from a legal standpoint. I'm the law lion of the Lion's Den. Okay? So, this dude keeps on making claims. And Cephas Black made a really good point, but I'm gonna get to that. Cephas, you are absolutely correct. Because I'm gonna get to the Bacha Bacha boys, right? What's it called? The Bacha Bari boys of Islam. He want to talk about homosexuality. Let's get to Islam, but we're gonna get there in a second. Okay? So basically what he's doing is what he's trying to do is insert Romanization and Hellenization as a standard of Christianity. Yes, during the time of Yeshua HaMashiach, Romans ruled the land. But the reality is he's making what is called a fallacy of equivocation argument. Okay? Fallacy of equivocation argument is simply meaning, simply meaning that what he's doing is trying to make Greek and Greek Hellenization and Romanization the standard for the Gospels, which you can't do. Because somebody in the back chat already stated that the Ethiopian text actually predates Greek Greco-Romanization, and we found these books even going back to the Tanakh and the Torah and certain Gospels that were kept in the scrolls of Qumran that predated Hellenization and Romanization. So let me just break this down real simple before I ask any questions, because I'm going to take a walk and I'm going to let y'all chew on this for a second. What he's doing is he's trying to insert Romanization and Hellenization as the standard for the Gospels, which is absurd because you can try to do that with any religion, including Islam, his own faith. He is not a rabbi. He ain't even an imam, but he's a Muslim, so I'm gonna call him Imam Lewis. He's not an Israelite. He was an Israelite, but he is no longer an Israelite. Okay? KJV, absolutely Asiatic 7. I will digress with that. The KJV version has a lot of Hellenization and Romanization in it. It has a lot of Greek mythology in it. But when you get to the Ethiopian text, this predates that. So when we get to the Ge'ez and the Amharic, yes, Asiatic, understand that there were texts that predated this. All right. Now he wants to go to Flavius Josephus or whatever. We can do that. We'll do that in a little while. Okay. I still got to feed my boy, make sure that he's good, because I'm about to light the stage up with facts. Okay, but this is my opening statement. My opening argument is that this dude is actually making a fallacy of equivocation argument by trying to insert homosexuality upon Yeshua HaMashiach. Nowhere in the Quran, in his own book, does it substantiate that. But if you go to the Hadiths, you'll see there's something called the Baza Bachi boys, where when they go to Juna, right? That's the heavens. You want to talk about a pedophilia? Come on, B. Don't you ever insert pedophilia upon Judaism or Messianic Judaism. When you guys, your own prophet, shut up, Dennis. This dude is a fucking retard. Dennis.
Hey, Zion. Yeah, Dennis. Hold on. Yeah, Dennis.
This is the retard that came here. Now you're over here trying to.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get a little better.
We got. Zion, hold on, Zion.
I'm gonna land my plane right here. So watch this.
Hold on, Zion. Dennis, you're more than welcome to hit the link. But let me. Okay. Yeah, we gonna go back and forth. You gotta let the man defend some of the stuff because he ain't gonna remember. Hold on, because you're opening a lot and you're saying a lot too. But it's supposed to be questioned. So I'm trying to let you get to that round. But hold on a minute, right quick. Hold on.
I am actually not Mr. Clean. I am not God. I am not an angel. My name is Sweat. You do.
What'd you say again?
I said, I am not Mr. Clean. I am not an angel of Jesus. I'm a man. How do you do?
Wait, he's a troll.
Masturbating. I was a homosexual.
Kareem, he's a troll. Okay. Kick him off, Kareem.
Yeah.
I mean, he come to defend. Hold on, he come to defend Jesus, but yeah, he's a troll. Okay,
I know that guy.
Oh, he's trolling you?
Yeah, I know that guy. He's a troll.
Okay.
Mr. Clean was black. I don't know what you can't whitewash. You can't go whitewash that nigga too. But I just had to say that. But oh yeah, but yeah, y'all can do it back and forth, things. I know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna pause for a second. I just wanted to say that basically this guy is making false equivocations, and he's not pointing out the falsehoods that also relate to his own religion that was Hellenized and Romanized. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna take about 2 minutes to walk get my strengths and stuff, and then I'll be ready to ask this brother some questions because I got a process. Okay, so is that okay with y'all?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, what's Cephas?
Take the reins.
Go ahead, Cephas, if you got something to say. Go ahead. Yeah. Questions and then your disagreement with what you have.
No, I don't have no questions. I don't have no questions at the moment.
Okay, well, ask him that same question you asked him and let him answer it.
Okay.
Yeah, to respond to that, he mentioned in Jannah, the little boys that he referred to. If you look at that in Arabic,
that was Zion that asked that. This Cephas.
Yeah, Zion made a statement about the little boys.
Wait until I get back to ask that question, bro, because I'm gonna smush you on that.
Let's see if
that's the question.
Yeah, I just want to know why you talking about the Christian mythology and not your own mythology. Like y'all don't have a Greek mythology in your doctrine.
Who said we did? When did I say Greek mythology influenced the Quran?
No, I'm saying like why you attacking them? Like there's mostly Greek mythology. You ain't say nothing about your own doctrine. You're a Muslim too. y'all do the moon god and all that extra stuff. So
How is
that's
Allah
what
the moon god when Allah said don't prostrate to the moon in the Quran? Can you explain it?
you're not
Allah is the
answering my
moon god.
question, but
He
all
said
right.
don't prostrate to the moon. In fact, Yod-Heh-Wavet was the moon god, and I can prove that. When Akbos expelled the Hyksos from Egypt, they worship a god named Yahweh. Akmos was the god of the moon god. Akmos expelled the Hyksos from Egypt. He worshiped a god named Yahweh, who was the moon god. And he got it from the Hyksos. It was a lone deity from the Hyksos that the Egyptians started worshiping. The reason why he was known as the moon god is because one of the plagues of Egypt was for it to be completely dark. So it was a symbolization because Ra was the sun god, correct?
We're not talking about anything else. I'm saying
Hold on, let
one
me finish my
thing.
point. So Ra was the sun god. So the reason why Yahweh was the moon god because it symbolized the defeat of Ra. Ra was defeated by Yahweh. So Yahweh himself was the moon god in Egypt.
I'm not talking about Yahweh though, dog. I was talking about why you attacking Christianity, Yahweh with all the Greek mythology and not pointing out that Islam is in the same boat. So you acknowledge that Islam in the same boat with Greek mythology, yes or no?
No, I know I don't believe that. Show and prove that.
All right, bet. I can prove. We can set up the debate in the future, and I can show you where your Islam is in the same umbrella as Greek mythology.
Certainly. Look forward to that.
So
So
whatever foundation you had on that Jesus was a homosexuality, whatever sources I can go to right now and look all that things up. You said
brother, I said it
other
like
other
five
than your
times.
book, other than your book.
I gave you the source like 5 times. I told you it was Clement of Alexandria. They had an early copy of the Gospel of Mark. You know who Mark was, right?
Right.
They had an early copy of Mark at the time in the second century. And in that early copy of Mark that we don't have anymore, but Clement talks about it. Jesus was gay and he was molesting little boys. When Clement complained about this early copy of Mark, obviously the copy doesn't exist because at
So you
Nicaea they
can't
got rid of
so
it.
you can't prove that. So I can't look it up and actually look at that. I just gotta believe what you say. That's what you're saying.
No, all you got to do is type in Clement of Alexandria Gospel of Mark. You'll see the source. This is
Okay.
an historical fact. I said it like 5 times.
All right.
Anyway, so to make matters worse, there's no contemporary writings of Jesus. Not one contemporary writer speaks of
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm sorry. That's another thing. You want to be a Muslim and you attacking Jesus. A real Muslim supposed to believe in Jesus, dogs. You confusing.
No, I
Yeah,
believe
if you a Muslim, you heard of Aham Didat, right?
Akman, of course.
All right, so he will debunk everything you saying right now. You talking about Jesus being homosexuality and all them things like that. I can just smash you with Aham Didat right now because you talking crazy.
The is homosexual a sin?
No, in fact,
Yes,
no, I don't believe homosexuality. I'm not gay.
you not no Muslim
That's
then.
why y'all. That's why he's saying this. So y'all gotta understand where he's coming from. And
And I can prove it's not a sin right now. If I could, Karima, go into that.
go ahead.
Certainly. So I wrote a book called "It's God Homosexual," showing how different book. Homosexuality is not a sin. It's based on Kathy Boldog's work. She used to collect Bibles in different languages like Swedish, Norwegian, German, French, Spanish, and she looked up the word for homosexual, and then it was arsenokotai. The Greek word is arsenokotai, and in Greek literature, it never means homosexual. It always means like economic exploitation or like to exploit the poor. Only in the Bible does it translate as homosexual, arsenokotai. So some scholars even assert Apostle Paul made the word up because it's very rare in Greek literature. It never means homosexual. I can keep going. So Cassie Boldock wrote a book on this, her and Ed Oxford. Or the book's not out yet, they're working on it. So it's kind of an ode to her work. Yeah.
Dennis, we've been asking him questions the whole time. So
Yeah, and
this
also,
just
my bad, I forgot to mention, in Timothy's where it says homosexual, the word there is actually a pervert, somebody who's perverted, not somebody who's gay. Furthermore, I'll give you some more from the book. Let me get it real quick. I'll give you some more from the book on how homosexuality is not a sin. I'm going to prove it right now. Let me just find my book. 1 second. I got to find the file.
So you don't agree with the scripture when it says man should not lay down with other men?
Yeah, Kathy Boldock reconstructed that in her work. If you look at that in German, the Greek word there is the German word there in that verse of Leviticus 20, which is like, should not man is like a woman. It's Nebenschänder. Nebenschänder literally means like a child molester. So it's not condemning homosexuality between two adult males. It's condemning molesting a child. And that could apply to female or male children, not just male children. So she reconstructed that. I'm trying to find my book. I can't find it. 1 second. I think I found it. Duh. Sorry, guys. So I'm gonna show you, like
yeah.
I said. So when it
So hold
says,
on. So
go
Reb,
ahead,
hold
bro.
on, Rabbi Lewis. So are you saying that Israelites were having homosexual acts and it was deemed okay? I just was trying to get you to understand if that's what you're saying.
No. I said in Timothy's where it says homosexual, what there is perversion. So in Leviticus, Queen mentions Leviticus 20:13 where it says, "I shall not allow mankind's delight with a woman." If Kathy Baldock has that verse in the German Bible. In the word there's Nebenschänder, which means like a child molester, and it can apply to female or male. It's just a general term for child molestation. It doesn't
Okay,
mean male
I
or
understand.
female.
I understand that. But my question is do you believe that when Israel, if an Israelite had a homosexual act, was it deemed bad in that community?
No, let me show you why. If I can find the book, 1 second. Sorry about that.
Dennis, you can come on the panel. The link is in there.
And I have a question about Corinthians 6:9 too. I just want you because I see that you broke down the other scriptures where you said God from, because this one is condemning kind of like a feminine man homosexual acts too. So, but it is Corinthians.
Right.
Hold on, I can't find the book. Let me download it again. 1 second. I'm going to show you. Even Eusebius mentions these verses. But I gotta find the file. So, Leviticus 20. While I'm pulling this up, does not mean now the male kind is just condemning pedophilia between a male. It can mean a child, female or male child.
Okay, I understand what you're saying about that. I just had to ask the other question because they was asking was homosexual a sin, so they was asking you as far as if an Israelite did a homosexual act, was it a sin in that nation in that under that nation? You said no, so that's why I was just making that clear for everybody to know that.
And so Jesus was actually wiping the disciples' feet naked. I can prove that. 1 second. I just found the book. Let me download it so I can pull it up. 1 second. 1 second, family. Yeah, that's all. What I'm getting at. He washed the disciples' feet naked. He took the towel off. He took his robe off, and he took his towel off and washed their feet naked. Why is he naked? Wash their feet. Hold on. Okay, so it says most scholars hold that Leviticus 18 and 20 about homosexuality.
You on your computer? Share your screen.
Oh no, I'm on my laptop, but I'm on my phone on the Hangout, but I'm looking at my laptop. You see what I'm saying? It says John Boswell said, and I quote, "These verses did not connote homosexuality to Paul or his early readers." Right? So he's got background on this. I think it's human scientist. Okay, so John Boswell says he's a scholar. He got background on his brother. Okay. John Boswell says in his work that Leviticus 20 and 18 did not denote homosexuality to Paul or his early readers, right? In that later Christian literature, the word is used. Aristotle of Athens said it clearly didn't mean homosexuality, but prostitution. So you see Leviticus 20, where it says don't let one of mankind's out the woman, it's talking about prostitution, not homosexuality. That's according to Aristides of Athens. He said it's clearly not about homosexuality, but prostitution. Eusebius said he evidently used this verse to refer to women as well. So this verse can apply to women or men, right? Patriarch John IV of Constantinople, known as John the Faster, said, and I quote, this passage dealing with sexual misconduct. He speaks to arsenokotai that men can commit this sin with their wives. So the word arsenokotai can be applied to a feminine context, not just male or homosexuality. All right, let's keep going. Clement of Alexandria said in his work Stromata from Balsidian said that this could apply to women as well. Let's keep going. Okay. So that gave you 4 sources from the book. But let's keep going. Let's keep going, guys. Let's get to the book. So it's condemning pedophilia, and it's talking about prostitution, not homosexuality. So let's keep going. 1 second. The word there, Matthew, is malokai, which means effeminate,
Right.
but it also can apply to like upscale clothing in Greek literature. Let's keep going.
Right.
It's like I was saying, 1 Timothy 1:10, it says homosexual, but if you look at that in the NIV, it says a pervert, which is different than homosexual. It's like somebody who's perverted, which can apply to homosexual or heterosexual. It's just general perversion. Look at the word arsenokotai and translate to Latin. The word there's pediccio, which means a pedophile, like a boy molester in German, right? If you translate that verse to Latin. So I said a lot, but
Right.
I'm sorry. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
That was on your end.
Oh, all right. I yield the floor for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we were just waiting for Zion to come in. I don't know when he was coming back to X, but I mean, I guess. Let me see if I got any more comment. Let me see if I got more comment questions. Let me look. Okay. I would like to ask Rabbi Lewis a few questions concerning this because I don't think he has the evidence. This is Dennis Thorpe. I don't know why you ain't jump on, Dennis. You don't put the link up like 5 times. Um.
I don't know. He ready to get at Zion, obviously.
Uh, can anyone explain how Zion and the law line? What? Oh no, that's. Oh, I don't know. If he Okay, and also the reason. Hold on. The Septuagint sounds fake. It seems like it was made just recently because the Edomites couldn't even come together on a common doctrine. Is why Edomite created the Reformation Act. You know anything about that?
Not sure what he's
Another
getting at.
question
I'm
is,
not
does
sure.
the huh?
Not sure what his point is.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said, does the Geese mention the word bigot in the evil fashion too? I mean, niggard, my bad. Niggard, in an
All right.
evil fashion.
No, Quran does mention that at all. Nigga,
Okay. Let me see. I don't see no more questions. Let's see. That was really it. Um, I mean, I guess anybody that want to have some more questions, come over here. Put the links up, man. We don't want no comment warriors, man. We don't want no people commenting after it's over with and all this. We don't want no people going anywhere else and replying. Come on the platform. That's what I'm saying right now.
Rasta man got a comment. I mean, a question. A question.
Okay. Is he
What
coming on or we gotta
verse?
read it?
Yeah, what verse you referring? What work you referring to, Rasta?
Oh, here you go. Um, ask Rabbi Lewis if that work predates any of the Chronicle Gospels.
Which work are you referring to, brother?
He said, "Which work you replying to, Rasta man?" I guess he's saying like any is the source. I guess what he's saying is the sources, like the sources and the information you get it from. Does it predate the Chronicle Gospels?
If in a nutshell, to respond to that, older does always mean better because there's new evidence coming out. So you may have newer sources that are
Oh
more
no,
accurate
hold
than
on. He
older
said,
sources.
hold on. He said the book that mentions Jesus was a homosexual. That's what he asked him about.
Oh, no. Mark is the earliest gospel we have. It's based on something called the Q document. So Mark is the earliest gospel. It's the first gospel written. Now in the canon, it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew's first, but actually Mark was written first.
That's it on hand. Thank
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Dennis. Dennis on the panel.
Oh, Google
Then,
Scholar, what up, brother?
oh, okay. Google Scholar. Uh, introduce yourself and let people know where they can find you at. Is he on here? Who is that in the left? Who is that in the bottom left corner right there? I can't see.
That's me, volume of the book.
Volume of the book.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
you.
Please volume of the book. Introduce yourself and say where they can find you on the social media, and then
Yeah,
ask a question if you.
yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm volume of the book. I've been up here a few times. Peace, Sister Karima, everybody else. I just came on really. I didn't see nobody jump on, and I figured let me just jump on and ask Rabbi a question real quick. But let me make sure I got clarity first so I don't falsely accuse you. Did I hear you say correctly, Rabbi Lewis, that you said homosexuality is not a sin?
Correct, and I think I proved that. So, Bible, brother, scientist, you got background noise, brother.
No, not me.
Oh, bro, mad scientist, you got background noise.
My bad. Let me put it on.
Continue, brother. Sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't hear it because of the noise. You said that it's not a sin. You said
If you play the audio back, you'll see I proved that.
no. I didn't ask you. Did you prove it? I'm just clarifying. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, did I hear you also correctly say that I don't know the lady's name? You mentioned a lady basically translated that into the German to show that the Leviticus verse wasn't talking about homosexuality?
Correct. Kathy Bulldog, yes.
Kathy Bodon. Now, here's my question for you, Rabbi. Was the Old Testament text written in Hebrew or German?
When the Old Testament was written, Hebrew didn't exist. It was written in Proto-Synodic. In fact, this is a scholar named Bart Ehrman.
I know Bart Ehrman. That's I
Let
don't
me
need
make my
I don't
point,
need the
brother.
whole
Let me make my
breakdown. No,
point, brother.
your
Let me
point
make
was
my point,
made. You
brother.
said it was written in Proto-Synodic. That's what you
Yeah,
said.
but let me qualify that if I could.
You don't have to. I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so Proto-Synodic and just so you know, Proto-Synodic and Hebrew are two
I
totally
would
different
like
scripts.
to.
I'm very aware of what it is. So here's my reason for asking you that question. If it was written in Proto-Synodic, as you just stated, why would you go to the German translation and a Latin translation to see what it says? Why
Certainly,
not deal with the actual translation, the actual
certainly,
language?
as I was saying, you cut me off. Bart Ehrman, he not qualified in Hebrew. He's a New Testament guy. So he rings up a friend of his to ask him about the language that Moses spoke. He said, whatever Moses spoke, we don't have anymore. So the reason why we have to rely on other versions is because the original Hebrew has been corrupted.
Okay. I will take that. I think the audience could hear the sense in the question I asked. We'll take that answer. Here's another question for you. So in the text that you say is not Hebrew, which is weird, but in that particular text, right, is the word naked there talking about having no clothes on?
And what verse are you referring to? Read the verse.
How?
Was that Karina saying something?
No, that's Zion.
That was this one point.
Mute your mic, Zion.
Oh, okay. So, for example, Rabbi, tell me what this is saying to you. 1 Samuel 19 and 24, and I can share my screen if that's more convenient. If not, I'll just read it.
You can share your screen if you want to.
Okay, I'll do that. I appreciate you, Karima. Let me share my screen.
You're welcome.
One second. Let me just find the. Oh, I see it. It's on the bottom. Hold on. So I'm having some difficulties. Oh, there it goes. All right. Share. Window, boom. Okay, here we go. Okay, so right here, brother, it says, and he stripped off his clothes also and prophesied before Samuel in like manner and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say is Saul also among the prophets. So what I'm asking you is, it says that he lay down here naked all day and night. Is this saying that he didn't have any clothes on?
I have to read that in context, but I'll make your point. I'm listening.
My point is.
Yes, it does.
My point
yes,
is.
It does.
My point is the verses.
Yes, it does.
Zion,
am I tripping? I'm not sure what's happening.
Keep your mic unmuted. That's Zion's son. So keep your mic.
Okay. So my point.
Keep your mic muted. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So the point that I'm making, brother, is a lot of times when you see the term naked in the Hebrew text and even in the Greek, and I'll show you as well, it's not talking about not having any clothes on. Are you familiar with the Israelite culture and how men dress?
Yeah, talking about sleeping with his wife, correct?
No, this has nothing to do with sleeping with anyone's wife.
Okay, so when it says that Ham uncovered Noah's nakedness,
that's not this context. I didn't ask you about that verse. I'm asking you about this verse right here.
No, because Ham, you just said naked doesn't mean have sleep with.
And the source text is on the screen. It's not Ham.
Brother, I'm giving you an example. It says Ham uncovered his father's nakedness. That's talking about having sex with his wife.
Of course, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not literally not talking about
that.
Yes, but I'm not talking about that. I'm literally talking about what's on the screen.
Different?
Let me show you. All right, my screen's still sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me open this up. Let me show you something. Here's the word naked right here. Everybody's familiar with the blue letters, so I don't need to explain this. I'm just going to go down to the word naked, as you can see here. Right? Aram in the Hebrew. I'm going to click on it. And I want you to look at this. It's very important to the argument that you're making, which is just ridiculous. All right. So if you go down right here, right, it says nude, right? Now we all know what nude means, but look what else it means. Either partially or totally naked. Now, why is that important? I'm going to show you why. Let's go down to the, to the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon to get a better understanding of the actual word. So if you start reading here, right, you'll see that it says naked. Then it gives you some verses. It says, but naked is also used for ragged or badly clad. You know what that means? That means that if you're wearing clothing and it's like shredded or has a tear in it or something like that, in our culture back then, that was also considered to be naked because your garment wasn't fully put together. Let me keep reading. It says stripped, right? It says used of one who, having taken off his mantle, watch this, goes only clad in his tunic. This is why I asked you, are you familiar with how Israelite men dressed? Because in our culture, Rabbi, we wore what today we call an undergarment, which is called a tunic. And then on top of your tunic or your undergarment, you had on your normal, everyday clothes that you wore. In our culture, once you took off your outer garment and you was left only in your tunic, guess what you were considered to be in our culture, Brother Rabbi?
Naked.
Exactly. So when you go back to the verse that I showed you here, let me pull it back up on the screen.
I'm grappling with your point.
I'm about to show you. It's clear. Verse 24. And he stripped off his clothes also and prophesied before Samuel in like manner and lay down naked. This is the same word we just looked up. All that day and all that night. He wasn't bucket naked. He had on his tunic, his underclothing. But in our culture, that's also considered naked. This is why when you go to the New Testament now, I can show you the same thing in the Greek if you want to see it. It was never a time when the Mashiach, when it says he took off his robe and his towel, that's the outer garment that he took off. He was still in his tunic. He was not butt naked. This is basic. And there's several theologians that understand. This is so simple. So what you're saying is completely ridiculous, with all due respect. It's just stupid. Because the Bible clearly tells you that if a man lays down with a man, it's homosexual. It's a sin, bro. And I'm not going to go to a German understanding of what my Hebrew text is telling me. That is ridiculous.
Okay, so you want to discard the German? We got the Norwegian. It's the same shit. So
I'm not going to the Norwegian to tell me what a Hebrew word means. That's ridiculous.
Oh, the Latin, the Norwegian.
I'm not going to the Latin to tell me what a Hebrew word means. That's ridiculous. Any more?
This is the baby out with the bathwater. Just like, for example, to the prophet writes a book called, The Plight of the Negro and the Jew, whatever. And his work is actually translated from French, largely. And he uses the word for black. Said the Jews were black. The word then is from the French is basanti, which means like a tan pale skin complexion. So what you're doing is a logical fallacy. You're saying because, for example, because black can mean a tan pale skin complexion, therefore it could never mean actual blackness. That's exactly what you're committing, a logical fallacy.
Does anyone feel like I committed a logical fallacy?
I'll take the correction. It's like saying
hold on, you spoke. You spoke, brother.
No. I think you perfectly explained it.
I appreciate that.
No. So what you're committing a logical fallacy. Head on. Because it can mean scantily clad or naked. It has to mean scantily clad. That's what
let me tell you why. Because we have a law that tells us what to do and what not to do.
That word in Hebrew can literally mean actual nakedness.
I was very clear on what I just explained.
Yes or no?
I showed you that it could mean naked. I showed you that it could mean naked, and then I showed you. Why are you throwing
the baby out the bathwater when that word can?
So, do you want the answer, or you just want to talk?
Could you put value of the book? Could you pull up the scripture with him saying that lying with another man? They're talking about sleeping with a child, pedophilia act.
Yeah, that's the word there. Yeah, I have the word from the German Bible in my book.
What was the verse? So I could pull it out. It's Leviticus. What is it?
It's 18:22 and 20 and 13.
18:22. I appreciate you. Leviticus 18:22.
And I have that in the German in my book. And
I don't, bro. I'm with all due respect. I could really care less about your German translation of my Bible. For real, I'm just being honest.
Well, you can if you want.
I want him to go from different. Zion, come on now. I want him to go from different point of views. All
right, so I'm showing it here. It says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind. It is abomination."
Yeah, now if you look at that in the German, the word there is Nebenschänder, which literally translates to boy molester.
If I look at it where?
In German.
What if I look at it in the Hebrew?
In Norwegian, it says child molester.
What if I look at it in the Hebrew?
This wasn't written in Hebrew. It was written in Proto-Semitic.
Right. It's the objection relevance.
We don't have that anymore.
German doesn't matter. What it says in German doesn't matter because it does not go back to the antiquity of the text. So
do you know the word homosexual?
That objection.
Did you know that the word homosexual is a German word? that was invented in the
Okay, let me ask you this: is the
1800s.
word homosexual used in this verse?
The homosexual didn't
Is
exist.
the
The word
word
is a
okay? So
German
then I
word.
don't care about your German. I'm going to look at what this verse says.
Yeah,
If
we
a
gonna read.
man lies with a man as he normally would lie with a woman, it's an
That is a
abomination. This is
that
not.
is a
We don't
false
need to be.
translation.
We don't.
Exactly.
No one on the panel even needs to be deep to understand what that means.
Yeah, because most people know
Exactly.
about. Hold on, son. Because most people know about this one right here. So you got to explain how this translates into that.
You have the Bible says in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. We have the Norwegian Bible. It says the same thing. Child molester. The German Bible, the Latin, the French, the Gaelic. All these verses except the KJ.
Okay, so what
says
does
boy
the
molester,
what
child
does
molester.
the Septuagint say? The Greek translation of it say? Rabbi, what does the Greek translation of this say in the
This is what
Septuagint?
happens when you do a week's worth of study and write a book.
A week worth of study. I wrote that book.
No, Zion. Come on now,
That's what
Zion. Let's stick to what we dealing with right now. Let him speak. Okay, let Rabbi answer the question that he just asked.
Certainly. So this the what it says in the Septuagint in the original Greek. I'd have to look into that. But what I will say,
well, I could tell you. Let me tell you.
Well, before you do that,
please tell him. Please tell him, brother.
It said the same thing it says right here.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
It says the same thing it says right here in the.
He got the blue letter up, so you're done. You're finished.
How am I finished when I just gave you the Gaelic Bible?
Because
Bible?
you're coming with texts that are that are irrelevant. You're coming with some German shit. Date that German text. Date it right now.
Explain how abomination turned into pedophilia. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Well, I swear to God, my phone
Take
is on.
the German, please.
Hold on, brother. Before
Objection, non-responsive. Move the strike.
Hold on, brother. I got 20% battery. I got 20% battery.
I need to know what date that German text that you're trying to come out comes with. Because German ain't as old as Hebrew or Aramaic or Greek.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that's absurd.
Okay, first I'm at 20% battery. We're gonna have to do a part 2 to this. But before I go, I want to say, to repeat what I said, because brother might have missed what I said. Leviticus 18 and 20 talks about homosexuality. John Boswell said in his work, it did not connote homosexuality to Paul or his early readers.
When was John Boswell?
No, Zion, let him finish.
I need
hold on. You can ask that after you finish. Fine, you can ask that after he finished. Come on now, you ain't gotta be boggled.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this real quick. So John Basewell said that verse, Leviticus 18, we just read, Leviticus 20, I should like the woman. John Boswell said it did not connote homosexuality to Paul or his early readers. They didn't look at it as a homosexual act, right? So that said, let's keep going. Aristotle of Athens was 130 AD. Clearly said it doesn't mean homosexuality.
What was the date? Wait, please say the date again, please.
Yeah, the first source is John Boswell's work. He said that Leviticus 18 did not connote homosexuality to Paul or his early readers. Then Aristotle of Athens was 138 AD. He said that verse clearly did not mean homosexuality.
That's 100 years after the text was written.
It said he clearly did not mean homosexuality but prostitution. Eusebius.
You see how he just deflected?
Hold on, I'm gonna deal with that. Let me just get my point across. Eusebius said,
"No, you're getting a point across, but what you're doing is you're bringing hearsay testimony."
Zion, you asking him. Hold on. You're asking him questions in between. He trying to answer this man's question. So just wait.
Yes, sir. It didn't mean homosexuality. We have Aristotle of Athens said these verses meant prostitution in the original text. Eusebius said it could mean apply to women, not just men. John Faster said it dealt with sexual misconduct, and it can apply to even females. Clement of Alexandria in this work, Stromata, said this can happen between women and men. So these verses don't mean homosexuality. To any early writers, I'll yield, and I got like 30 more minutes and I have to go.
Go ahead, Zion.
You guys go start.
Is it my go?
Brother, yes, no, go ahead, Zion.
No, go ahead, brother.
Here's the problem. All right. The problem is, and you know that's my slogan, right? The problem is this dude is just bringing sources that are not dated to the time period when the text was written, which is called hearsay testimony, and it's objectionable. If I write a text, like he cited his own sources. He cited his own sources throughout the whole beginning of this whole thing, as if his own book was credible. And this is 2022. He wrote it in a week. He said he wrote it in a week. That's bullshit. Excuse me. I told you I was gonna go. I'm sorry, Queen Karima. I told you I was gonna go bust the rhymes on this nigga. This is absurd. This is an absurdity. See, what he's banking on is that everybody's stupid. And he thinks he knows something because he read some sources that are dated outside of the timeline. That's hearsay testimony. It's unauthenticated. In a court of law, it would have been fucking stricken from the record. And that's what the brother volume in the book. I just walked in the door. I had to get my son some stuff. Came back in the door. Volume of the book is over here spanking you, Mr. Imam Lewis, because you're not no rabbi. You're not an Israelite. You're over here trying to deny the text when even the Quran said that you should not even do that to Yeshua. You're arguing against your own Quran. The Quran said that the Gospels and the Bible was uncorrupted. But you're sitting here trying to tell us that it was corrupted by Hellenization and Romanization. Your book wasn't even written by Muhammad, because Muhammad was illiterate. That shit came like 100, 200 years after the fact. And you have the nerve when that dude slept with a freaking goddamn, married a 6-year-old and slept with her when she was 9. You want to talk about pedophilia? You can't find nothing in the Bible that substantiates that kind of debauchery. I object.
I was just real quick.
Wait, I'm not done, bro.
Sorry.
I'm not done. I walked away for 15 minutes. You're full of shit. Okay? What you're doing is you're bringing
Zion. He only had 20 minutes, so keep it short so he can respond.
Okay. And you know what? I'm gonna let somebody else go because
he want to respond to you, but he want to make sure you have enough time to respond. So I want him to respond.
All right, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna let somebody else, because I had like 5 questions for the brother when I went to the store. I had 5 questions for the brother. Yeah, and when I walked in the room and I heard the absurdities that this brother is speaking right now, I totally forgot.
Okay, let other people ask him. Let other people ask him a question, and you probably remember once he gets to talking.
Karima, it's always an honor to be on your show. I actually offered to Cash App Sister Karima for her time, because I really love what you guys are doing here, man. And we got to do this again, sister. We got to set up another date, sister, because my phone's dying. You heard me?
Yeah, we don't accept cash, nothing.
Oh, okay. We got to do this again one day,
and I already told you that already.
She gave me an earful about that, but
Hey, Robert, let me ask you one more thing before you go. It'll be quick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and well, here's a point of advice too. Every time you come on, bro, your phone be dying. You might want to like get a external charge or something. When I hit
Karima up, I had like 80% battery, 75% battery when I hit her up earlier.
Okay,
hangout. So
plug your joint in or something. But here's a question for you.
Yeah, we're gonna do this again though. Karima, can we do this again, Karima?
Yeah, we can do a part 2 on this.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2. All
right, so here's a quick question. It's a quick question.
Go ahead, brother.
So you referenced this verse earlier, and I agree with you. Leviticus 20:11, and man that lies with his father's wife have uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be surely put to death. Yep. Right? You don't have no issue with this verse here, right?
Okay. Well, according to sources in my book, and I read the book for this, Ham actually castrated Noah. He castrated him, and the earliest Bibles didn't say that, but
okay. So you do have a problem with this verse? I'm just saying yes or no.
Yeah. I source it, but he castrated Noah. He castrated.
No problem. All right. So here's my question. Yeah. Leviticus 20:13. I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna see if you agree with this. When it says right here, I'm gonna skip this first part. When it says, "As he lieth with a woman," Would you agree that this is talking about someone that lies down with a woman?
In this corrupted Bible verse, yes.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh
As
my
he
I
God!
lieth
don't
with
believe
a
that.
woman.
You're gonna come out of the German and talk about this is corrupted, but the German ain't.
Right. I want the
German
verse
that
9 real quick.
comes like 15
Wait,
years,
Zion.
15,000 years later.
Zion, he only got a little bit of time. Let him build on this one
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah. We'll definitely, inshallah, I'll do a part 2. But I want to say Zion, Muhammad, that is a Sunni hadith. I'm a Shia. Aisha was
No,
20
that's
years old.
from the
Let me
Quran.
finish.
That's not a Sunni. That's not a hadith. The
That's not in
lying
the
down
Quran.
with no. I got the Quran right here, bro. Don't you do
The
that.
Quran says
Don't
that
you do
Aisha
that.
was 9 years
Don't
old when she
you
married
do
Muhammad.
that. I will come with the surah right now. Don't you
Hold on,
do
let me
that.
ask you a question,
He
Zion.
lay
You
down with
saying,
Aisha. He married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated the marriage when she was 9. That's a
okay, give
Quran
me that surah. Give me the
surah.
surah. Give me the
Cut
surah.
it out.
That's not in the Quran. Give
Okay,
me the
why he
surah.
get that, Rabbi? Why he get that source, right? I'm still trying to get a clarity on
That's
this.
not in the Quran. That's in the hadith. He
Right.
doesn't know
Well,
what he's talking
y'all
about.
could build on that right after this. This is gonna be quick.
Hold on, let me just say this real quick, then I'll let you go, brother.
All right, go ahead.
Aisha was 20 years old when she married Muhammad, and I can prove that. Furthermore, she was 20, and she had a husband before Muhammad named Jabbar ibn Motim. If you look at the Shia sources, she was 20 years old, not 9. That's bogus. Go ahead, brother. The other brother, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm just trying to get clarity. Do you agree that this highlighted section here, as he lieth with a woman, this is referring to a person that lays down with a woman?
Yes, you're corrupted Bible verse. Yes.
Okay. So if you take my quote unquote corrupted Bible verse and you agree that this is talking about someone who lays down with a woman, then obviously if we look at the part right before it, when it says if a man also lie with mankind, then we know that has to be talking about same sex, right? Because if the second half is talking about a man laying with a woman, then the first part would have to be talking about a man laying with a man, correct?
Brother, it's corrupted, brother. I don't believe
I'm
it.
asking you, is that what it's saying in my quote unquote corrupted text?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay. So for everybody that's listening who understands that the text is not corrupted, I'm more concerned with what y'all see than what he's saying. If a man lies with a man the same way he would normally lie with a woman, then both of them, meaning both the men, have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. This is clear in the text. This is clear. So whatever you're talking about, Rabbi, I'm not trying to disrespect you personally as a person, but whatever you're talking about, bro, it's just ridiculous.
Okay, that's an assertion. Okay, but I mean, I'm looking forward to, if you want to read the book, I look forward to your response. But go ahead, brother Zion, because I got to close out. Got like 20 more minutes.
Yeah, you know how to keep it short when you're about to get smoked. When it gets hot.
Brother, I already agree. Brother. I agree.
You asked me to speak. I'm gonna speak.
Oh, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry, I didn't know that was you. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. So the last time I started cooking, you did the same thing. You was like, well, let's close out. You ain't got the time. You want to rearm yourself. Rearm yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Brother,
we'll come right back.
If Kareem is available tomorrow,
we'll do a part 2. We'll do a part 2. And here's the problem: when you do the part 2 with me the next time, I'm going to have every single source. Now, you might be correct about the hadith. It doesn't matter.
Oh, so you couldn't find it in the Quran? You admit that?
No. It's in the hadiths. It's in the hadiths.
In the Quran, right?
Wait, hold on, brother. Hold on. The hadiths explain the Quran where the Quran does not have.
Is it in the Quran or is it in the hadith?
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that, Imam Lewis. What you wanted to do. See, here's your problem. Here's the problem. The problem is now you want to try to make it seem as if the hadiths are separate from the Quran because they're written later, even though the hadiths are supposed to correct or place in fact answers that were not in the Quran, but you're using sources that came 15,000 years later for the Bible.
Okay, so hold on, family, for the audience.
Stop talking. Shut your fucking mouth.
No, don't be Yeah, let's not be disrespectful. Come on, you can talk and build with them. Come on.
Okay. So the reality is is what he's doing is he's trying, there's a straw man argument, because in one breath, he's saying that the hadiths are not necessarily, related to Quran, but he's using Greek sources, he's using Germanic sources, he's using sources that came in the 15th century to try and establish that Christ was a homosexual, even though he can't even pull nothing from the Bible, from the actual text, to prove that. He's using older sources, but now when I use a source about Aisha, that's not relevant to the Quran, even though the Quran was not written by Muhammad himself. See how stupid this shit is? I'm sorry, I'm not calling him
Okay,
stupid. I'm saying the argument is stupid.
For audience,
You're redundant.
He just
You're
yielded to
remedial.
the fact. He just yielded to the fact that it's not.
It doesn't matter. You yield to the fact that you brought forth sources that were 15 centuries later.
He can't show it in the Quran, my friend. You can't show it's not in the Quran.
Show me that the Germanic is actually the actual text. Show me that all of these texts that you brought forth that were 15 centuries later are more relevant to the scriptures than the hadiths to the Quran. You see how stupid that is?
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
See, moron.
That's the pot calling the kettle black because
moron.
All right.
Okay, hold on. Let Trent say something if he wants to. Y'all gonna go. Trentis, shalom. I think he stepped out.
Hey, Karima, can I just ask one quick question?
Yeah, I was going to come to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not even I'm not even going to read nothing. Rab, I'm not even going to read nothing.
Hold on. 1 minute. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get in. Oh, I hear a huge echo. Oh, okay, we good now. But my bad. What's up, Karima? Shalom, y'all. I really didn't have any questions right now because I'm still trying to grasp the full concept of what the rabbi is saying. Like, I just joined.
Okay, so yeah, catch it, do a rewind, and then we're gonna do a part 2 so you can really come at them. Go ahead, Value.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm not going to read anything, Rabbi. I just want to ask you this question because you mentioned the German, the Latin, and all that. So do you accept the Ethiopian text or the Amharic text?
No.
No? You'll take a German? Source, wait, you'll take a German source, but not the Ethiopian source?
Doesn't the Ethiopian Bible deny the resurrection?
No, brother, what I'm asking you, brother, is...
Let me ask you a question, brother.
No, wait, but you can't ask me a question while avoiding mine. I don't mind answering what you're saying, but I'll answer anything you got. What I'm saying, though, I just want this
put
clear.
The car for the horse, brother. Are you a Christian?
Objection non-responsive, move to strike.
Brother, are you a Christian?
Bro, I'm an Israelite, bro. I'm an Israelite. But that's irrelevant to what I'm asking you. Rabbi, stop trying to fight. I'm asking you a simple question for clarity.
Go ahead.
Because you couldn't have said what I think you said. You would adhere to a German text of a verse before you would go with the Ethiopian?
Does Ethiopian text? Ask your question.
So you're not going to answer that. You're just going to keep asking me something.
I'm going to answer the question. Does not the Ethiopian Bible
we good. We good.
He's going to keep dancing like Gregory Hines. That's what he's going to do.
Ethiopian Bible says Jesus was born in a manger in Ethiopia. But the Bible says
Ethiopia. It wasn't a manger in Ethiopia. It was a cave in Ethiopia. Get it right. See, you ain't studying enough. That's what a week's worth of study does. A cave in
Ethiopia. But then the Bible says he was born in Bethlehem. Which one was it?
That has nothing to do with what I asked you, bro. It literally has nothing to do with what I asked you.
Bethlehem is a date. It's a month. It's a actual calendar time. It's not a place. Bethlehem did not exist at the time.
I agree with that.
Neither did Nazareth.
I agree with that. I agree with that, though.
Okay, if you agree with that, then I'm gonna go back to my question.
I agree Bethlehem didn't exist.
Do you accept? Let me just. I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna run. So let me just tell everybody. The reason why I'm asking that question is because even in the Ethiopian translation, it literally says a man who lies with a male as he lies with a woman, it's an abomination. That's the point.
Okay, you have textual variants. You have 1 or 2 Bibles say 3 Bibles say he did. It does mean that you got like 20 other Bibles say it doesn't.
No, the majority leads my way. Don't do that. The majority leads my way.
They're not. I got like 10 Bibles here that all say the same thing.
Name 5 of them.
I have to pull that up 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, now I got 10% back. I gotta go. Karima,
Yeah, I know.
Karima, that's this.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hit me up when you want to do part 2. Whenever you want to do it, just hit me up on Facebook.
All right.
I want to say thank you guys. It was
I'm coming with sources. I'm gonna watch this whole entire video over, and I'm coming with absolute sources. So you better be ready to get spanked.
Yeah, let's do it. We can do it.
Hey, before you go, I just want to say, you know, what I mean, I respect what you're doing because it's bringing out a lot of topics that other people are talking about, and if people can debunk it, then you have to cross it out. If you can't, then you have to accept it. So I like when people come out with other things that's original, not original, but other things that other people don't speak on. But I've heard a lot of the stuff he's saying come out of other people's mouths and other people debate on it. So I think a lot of these topics need to come out if it's going to ever be corrected on that.
Karima, whatever you want to do it, just hit me up, Karima. We can do it tomorrow. You available tomorrow? You want to do it tomorrow?
Yes.
All right, we'll do it tomorrow. Hopefully, if I'm available. Thanks, Karima. Thanks to the Lions Den. Always an honor to speak to your panel. My name is Rabbi Lewis. Again, go to Amazon, type in Rabbi Lewis. Check my new book out. Thanks, guys. It was an honor. See you guys tomorrow. Inshallah.
Get ready. Get ready to rumble.
Yeah. And hopefully, you guys get the book and you can ask questions from the book. No, all right, guys.
What you're not going to do tomorrow is you're not going to justify, or you're not going to minimize the hadiths to the Quran and then try to justify Germanic texts and all of these 15th century texts to try to dismiss the Bible. Okay? And I'm gonna come out of Ethiopian text. I'm gonna come out of ancient text, bro. So you ain't gonna do that. So if the hadiths are not relevant, then your Germanic text is not relevant. Point blank, period. Because you can't have it both ways, Op.
Okay, looking forward to this. Hopefully, if I'm available tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow. If not, we'll do it the next day. Thanks again, guys. It was an honor.
All right.
Yeah, real quick. I'm a head out to Karima. You know, I just came on because Zion had to walk away to handle his business, and nobody was coming on to defend that madness.
Right.
I appreciate you.
When I bring out those Quranic texts that say that the Gospels and the Torah and the Tanakh are non-corruptible, he gonna look like a total fucking goddamn. He gonna have to wipe his face. He gonna wipe his mouth off.
Yeah, that was crazy, but. Yeah, man. I'll talk to y'all next time. Shalom.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Make sure you come on tomorrow or whenever it is. I'm gonna try to send you the link because I tend to don't try to go back and forth with them because I allow them the chance to get it.
Yeah. I know what you're doing. You just being a proper host.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to seem biased.
This is what happens.
All right.
Let's go.